have decently? I mean.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's really from my own learning is the truth.
Right, right.
Okay, so just lie on your back, begin to really arrive, so to speak. Notice where your attention goes as you lie there. Notice how kind of cool it is. We can be doing this online, but also any frustrations that may have come up in getting here, and be able to just let those fall away and be present. Just begin to really check in with where you feel you're breathing. You may notice you're breathing in your belly or in your chest or in your throat, your nostrils. Just check in with it. And also begin to sense your contact with the floor. Notice what parts of yourself feel in contact with the floor, what parts of yourself are away from the floor. You might start with where your heels are making contact with the floor. And you can compare right and left. And just notice if one leg, the toes are pointing outward more than the other, and if the point of contact is at a different spot, comparing right to left. And then just continue to scan your legs, moving up. Maybe there's a space between your Achilles and the floor. And then where do your calves make contact again? And compare right and left, just for clarity's sake. And with still some attention to your breathing, let it be nice and easy. Continue scanning behind the backs of your knees. Continue up your thighs and your buttocks in contact with the floor. And now start to pay attention to your torso. And what part of your back do you feel is taking up space on the floor? Maybe the middle back. And is there some space behind your lower back? Just continue scanning. See if you can sense your ribs in any way. Maybe the back sides of your ribs and between your shoulder blades. And notice your arms. Just notice how your arms feel. How they're lying on the floor. No need to change it. Just notice what feels comfortable. And also sense how your neck feels and where your head makes contact. The back of your head makes contact with the floor. Good. So we'll kind of refer back to this sense because it may change. Your sensations in this scan may change. So if you can take a snapshot of your whole self in contact with the floor, where you feel connections with the floor, the support of the floor, and where you kind of come away from the floor a little bit. And now when you're ready, bend both knees and bring your feet standing. And you can keep your arms where they're comfortable. They might be comfortable up or at your sides. You can kind of play with that as you see fit. But first, pay attention to how changing your legs to this position changed your contact with the floor. Notice if there's a change in the lower back with the contact that your lower back is making with the floor. And also, do you sense your breath in any different way? Now, Mom, I might suggest that you either scoot a little up on your mat or down so that your feet can be flat on one surface. Yeah, there you go. That's perfect. Now, cross your right leg over your left at the knee. And I'll remind you, so go ahead and slide it all the way down so your knees are touching. The back of your right knee is touching your left thigh. So you're going to slide it all the way
Like
down.
that?
All the way. So there's this where your ankle's on your knee, and then you could slide it all the way down if it's comfortable.
Like this?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right. That's right. And I'll just remind you that if you start to hold your breath, then back off on your effort. So that's why I'm going to continue to remind you to check in with your breathing as we move. And if you find yourself holding your breath, then just do a little bit less. And these movements shouldn't hurt. So if they do hurt, you can do them in your imagination. Or you can just do one very small movement and then stop. Okay, so now let your knees just drift very lightly to the right and then back. That's right. A little bit and then come back to neutral. And as you do this, you're going to do this movement several times. And as you move the knees a little bit right and then back to neutral or back to the center, see what you sense in your pelvis, in your spine, in your breathing, in your ribs. And good. Let your breathing continue. You can go super slow. Take as much time as you need. This is beautiful. This is an opportunity to really study how you like to move and clarify parts and find new options. Good. And you could even let your breathing be part of the movement. You could explore inhaling as you drop the legs, or explore exhaling as you drop the legs. And also notice as you move, what is the order of movement? What do you sense first? What happens first, and then what's next? And same thing when you return back to neutral. Okay, just leave that a moment. You can uncross your knees and rest a moment. We do a lot of resting and breathing and checking in with the breath. And every rest is an opportunity for your nervous system to integrate some of the learning that's happening, but also it's an opportunity to check in with your contact with the floor and any changes that you may sense. Okay, so now just if you're comfortable with the legs long, let's try this with the legs long once, and then we'll try it with the legs bent. Bring your arms to your side and bring your left arm over the top of your head so that your left fingers are going to be near your right temple. So your whole hand is over the top of your head. And yeah, so rather than on the forehead, it's sort of like if you were standing, it would be on the tip top of your head. Good. And your fingers are somewhere at your right temple. Okay? That's right. That's right. Now, I'll describe the movement. You're going to use your left arm to gently slide your head just a little bit to the left and then come back to neutral. So with that same idea, so it's not rolling the head, it's actually your nose stays oriented toward the ceiling. It's called translation. So it's going to be, yeah, sliding gently, a little bit left, and then come back. And let go of any ambition here, just really in that same spirit of exploration. Keep some awareness on your breathing, translating the head gently left, and then come back. Good. And try to keep your nose oriented straight toward the ceiling so that it's clearly, that's it. Nice. Yeah, and just continue. Notice what happens in the shoulder, the left shoulder. The upper ribs on the left side kind of have to fold a little bit on that upper left. The neck, let go of any extra effort or exertion. Good. Maybe once or twice. Also check in with how do you want to breathe? Do you exhale as you move and inhale as you come back? Good, and just rest. Go ahead and come back to center, bring your arm down and just rest a moment. And as you rest, notice your contact with the floor. Notice any changes, maybe upper back, neck, ribs. And your breathing. And you might even just, while you're resting, roll your head just a little bit right and left. Notice which side feels smooth. Maybe one side feels like it could go farther. Just clarifying your preferences of movement. And also letting your neck know it can completely relax. It doesn't have to work hard here. Okay, just rest again in the center. Now, when you're ready, bend both knees again and bring your feet flat. Cross the right leg over the left at the knee, so you can slide it on down. And you can place your left foot anywhere that feels good. If you need to or want to move your left foot so that it feels more at home, you're welcome to do that to adjust it. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to combine those two movements. But first, see if it's possible to let your knees drop gently to the right and stay somewhere on the right. Now, comfortably. So don't go too far that you kind of have to be able to rest in that position. And if it's not comfortable, then you can keep your knees upright. If it's okay, see if you can leave your knees a little bit to the right and bring your left hand overhead so that your left fingertips are somewhere on your right temple, and begin to slide, translate your head just a little bit to the left and a little bit back to the center. So you might inhale and then exhale as you move. Let it be nice and small. It doesn't have to be big. There's no ambition here. Everybody's really, this is an opportunity to explore So as you slide the head gently to the left, see what happens in the shoulder and ribs, sternum, and breath. Good. And rest anytime, and then get back to it anytime. If you want to rest completely and uncross your legs, anytime is fine for that. If you want to do a few more, go for it. Good. And think about what's required in the upper back as you move. And then go ahead and rest, uncross the legs. You can rest, bring your arm down. You can come back to center. Just take your time. Let your breathing be part of the movement and rest again. Oh, good. So go ahead and rest. Just rest. Good. Take your time. Notice your breathing. Notice your torso in contact with the floor, your shoulder blades, and your breathing. That's a good idea. Mom's taking her socks off because it's a little slippery, huh?
Oh.
Yeah, she's got a nice soft blankie. Okay, so now, yeah, go ahead and lengthen your legs. Notice your contact with the floor. Notice your breathing. And when you're ready, you don't have to start as soon as I start. So if you want a longer rest, go for it. Just listen to the instructions. You'll bring your left arm overhead again to that same place where it's at the right temple. And slowly and gently translate your head and upper shoulders or shoulders to the left and leave it there. So just find a way, and you can go and come back and forth a few times to find where is it most comfortable for you to be able to leave your head and shoulders just a little bit to the left. Good. Now, if you want to, you can bring your left hand down and put your right hand on your right thigh. And just begin, that's right, begin to slide your right hand along your right thigh towards your knee, not to the knee, but slide towards the knee and back towards the hip. Explore the top of the right thigh, and notice what happens in the shoulder blade as you do this movement, the right shoulder. Imagine going all the way to what would it mean? How would you be able to get to the knee? Your scapula might have to slide over the ribs a little bit. So what could you do to slide down to the knee? Now begin to explore the side of the right thigh. So bring your palm to the side of the right thigh and slide downward to the knee. And breathing and slide back. And you can feel your thigh with your hand, and you can feel your hand with your thigh. Just notice that there's two ways to sense this. And also you can sense your shoulder blade on the right side and your arm as your head is gently left. You have to slide in the scapula and see, can you slide under your thigh at all? Can your hand go underneath and slide a little bit under the thigh toward the back of the knee and come back? Good. Can you sense the scapula? Can you sense your shoulder blade? I call it the scapula. I mean, it's called the scapula, but it's also called the shoulder blade. Actually has the ability to slide over the ribs, and even you can gain a little bit more movement. You can slide a little bit farther. And breathing. Good. Let that go. Bring your head back to the center and just rest again. Check in with your breathing. When you're ready, and no moment sooner, bring your left arm again over keep your legs long, and bring your left hand over the top of your head again so that the fingertips are at your right temple. And notice your breathing and open your elbow. And you're using your hand and arm to help you translate the head a little bit. And go ahead and one more time, gently translate your head and shoulders a little bit to the left so that you just kind of let your upper back bend a little bit in the upper back, and then let go of the temple and bring your left hand to your left thigh. So your head stays to the left, nose is still oriented upward. You're just kind of bent in the upper back to the left a little bit, and begin to explore the left thigh, the top of the left thigh with your left hand. And keep breathing. Notice how far down your thigh you can go. Notice how the shoulder blade can slide a little bit over the ribs to get a little bit more length in the arm or to go any farther. Keep breathing. Let go of any ambition. You're doing it exactly right. Let it be nice and easy. Good. Now begin to explore the side of your left thigh. Same way, really feeling your leg with your palm and your palm with your leg, and sliding downward towards your knee. Notice what's required of your shoulder blade, and maybe even the upper ribs on the left side. And you're breathing. And then when you're ready, continue to explore the left thigh from underneath, gently and easy. Just do what's easy. And see how the shoulder blade really has lots of possibilities in there. Good. Let that go when you're ready. You can let that go. Bring your head back to neutral or back to the center, midline, and just rest again. Let go. And you're welcome to also, if you're starting to feel discomfort in your lower back, you're welcome to bend your knees or keep them straight, whatever feels good when you rest. Notice how you feel in contact with the floor. Notice what parts of you feel the support of the floor, may take up more room, and what parts of you don't. And has that changed from the beginning of the lesson? And your breath. Check in with your breath. Where do you feel you're breathing? Maybe your belly, maybe your chest, maybe a little of both. Maybe your throat or nostrils. Well, no, I'm not going to rush this rest. Nice deep rest. Good. Okay, so now when you're ready, bend both knees and bring your feet flat. And take your time. And we're going to go back to the same right leg over left at the knee. So you're going to slide all the way down, cross where you can, and lower the knees to the right and see if you can leave them somewhere. And also, when you find a place, just bring your left hand over the top of your head so that your fingertips are at your right temple. And then again, in that same way, slide or translate your head and shoulders a little bit to the left. So the knees are right and the head and shoulders are left. So you've got this very interesting twisted, bent position. Now, if you can kind of find comfort in this position, if you can't, then you can also do this in your imagination. If you're okay to leave your head and legs and shoulders here, go ahead and let your fingers come away and bring your hands to your rib cage. So leave your head where it is, your shoulders where they are, and your knees where they are, and bring both hands to your rib cage. And begin to just let your fingers explore your rib cage. So you might start at the bottom and feel those bony, all those bony parts. So just explore to begin. Begin to explore. And I'll just speak a little bit as you feel. You can move your fingertips upward towards your sternum in the middle, and then go out a little bit. Notice where you feel your ribs, and keep breathing. And so that's sort of step one, is to really feel your ribs. And then step two is to let your ribs kind of push your ribs with your fingers very gently to go to the right a little bit. So you still have this little bend in the upper back to the left, and you're going to let your hands, not just your fingertips, you can use your whole hands to push your ribs a little more to the right to support this twist to the right. And breathe. So notice, and just do this at your own pace and your own time. And I'm going to just share that, you know, we have this rib cage. It's called a cage, but there's actually lots of movement potential. The cage gives it a connotation of, you know, an immovable body of structure, but there's movement possible within the rib cage. It's there. It's very important. It's structure. It protects our heart and our lungs. So it's very important. And there's movability within there. Do you guys know how many how many ribs we have? You want to have a guess how many ribs there are in there?
15.
Okay, good guess. We have a 15. There's 12 on each side, so there's 24 total. The bottom 2 are floating in the front and they attach at the back. And then the rest are attached at the sternum and at the spine. Go ahead and come back up to the midline. Take a rest from that exploration. You can uncross and rest a moment. We'll come back to the exploration. Take a couple nice deep breaths. And when you're ready, come back to the same position. So right foot, right leg over left, left hand, and then translate your head and shoulders a little bit to the left. Your nose stays oriented, your nose and chin stay oriented to the ceiling. And then let your hands come to your rib cage again. And now begin to encourage your ribs to gently move more to the left. So at first we were moving the ribs to the right. Now just see if you can just use your hands to just gently invite your ribs to turn a little bit to the left, and your legs are still a little bit to the right. And continue breathing, and it's an exploration. It's not a goal. The goal is to really listen to how you can sense your ribs and your breathing and let it be easy on yourself. So your hands can gently invite your ribs to rotate a little bit to the left, and you can bring your hands up to your sternum and do the same, so that you're gently pushing this lovely structure inside to see, well, what would it be like if you went to the left here? And continue breathing. And then when you've explored to your own satisfaction, just let that go again and rest. Bring the knees up, bring the head back to the midline and rest. If you need something under your head, are you feeling some strain in your neck, Mom? I see. Okay. Okay. Yeah, good. Good. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, just rest. You can roll your head a little bit. Notice your contact with the floor. Notice if anything feels different with the contact you're making with the floor. Pay particular attention to your torso, your back, your shoulders and hips, lower back. So we took a good long time exploring on one side, and we're going to condense it and continue the exploration on the other side. But the beauty of the Feldenkrais method is that your nervous system actually informs the other side. So even though we spent more time with one side than we are going to spend on the other side, your other side has already probably learned some things from having explored it once on the other side. So that's kind of a beautiful aspect. And it will also be different than the other side because we all have preferences, which side we like to twist on and turn on. So, so when you're ready, go ahead and bend both knees and bring the feet flat. Notice how that changes your contact with the floor and your torso. And notice your breathing. And now you're going to cross the right leg over the left. No, left leg over the right. Good.
Yeah.
And just slide it on down and begin this exploration. Just start with the beginning steps of letting the knees drift a little bit left and come back. And see as you move, notice how far up your spine you can track this movement. Notice what happens in your right foot. You roll a little bit on your foot and notice what happens in the ribs. And also notice what initiates the movement to come back to center, to come back to the neutral position. And does this side feel more comfortable than the other? Maybe, maybe not. We all have a side that we prefer to do certain things. Now, when you're ready, see if you can leave your legs somewhere on the left side comfortably. And if not, just leave them in the center. Yeah, you can move your standing foot wherever feels good to leave it. So the knees are gently to the left, and bring your right hand over the top of your head so that your fingertips come near your left temple. And your knees are somewhere gently and comfortably left. Now begin to translate your head to the right. Your head and shoulder, basically your whole upper, because it's your hand that helps move your head. Let your right hand sort of, you do lift the head gently to slide it to the right and then come back. So the nose stays oriented to the ceiling, and the chin stays oriented to the ceiling, and your upper, your arm helps you slide a little bit to the right, and it's not, make sure it's not rolling, but it's actually sliding. It's like the back of your head slides on top of your blanket. It's not a rolling, it's more of a sliding. So your shoulder kind of slides. Okay, good. Leave that. Come back to the middle and bring your arm down, uncross your legs and lengthen the legs. Or you can keep them bent if you like. Now bring your right hand over the top of your head to the left temple. Keep the legs long and just see if you can slide your whole, you're going to actually lead with your right elbow when you translate your head to the side. So you're sliding your head and shoulder, that's it, a little bit to the right and then back up, back to the center. And then when you find a good spot, now make sure you're not rolling, your nose stays oriented to the ceiling, and slide the head again to the right and then leave it there and breathe. And let your left hand explore your left knee. You can leave your arm where it is, your right arm, or you can bring it down. Now your left hand explores the thigh. Did I say knee? I mean thigh. So the hand slides toward the thigh and back. Notice that the left shoulder blade can really slide over the ribs. And then begin to explore the side of your thigh and the back of your thigh. And notice your breathing as you go. Good. And when you're complete with that, bring your head and shoulders back to the midline and bring both arms down and rest again. A brief rest. And then when you're ready, bring the right hand over top. Same thing with the upper shoulders. The hand comes over top of the head to the temple. And you use you lead with the right elbow. You use your arm to help you slide the head, and even the upper ribs might slide a little bit to the right. And you're breathing. And then bring your right, so yeah, you can go back and forth a few times and find that movement for yourself. And then when you're able to leave your head somewhere, your head and upper shoulders to the right, and then bring your right hand to your right thigh and begin to slide the hand up and down the front of the thigh, exploring, and then on the side and on the back. Sliding the shoulder blade over the ribs, exploring your thigh. Notice how much movement is available at the shoulder blade to get even more length downward. Beautiful, that's right. Good. And how's your breathing? Good. Okay, just let that go. Bring your head and shoulder back to the center or the midpoint and rest again. Notice your shoulders in contact with the floor and your back. And this beautiful protective rib cage we have that actually has mobility in there. It's a protection. It protects our vital organs, and we have some movement there, some movement capability. Okay, so when you're ready, bend both feet, bring the feet flat, and find a place to keep your feet without sliding, and cross the left over the right. And slide on down if comfortable, and see if it's possible to lower your legs to the left. And bring your left arm overhead to get to the right temple. And let your upper, nope, sorry, that's the wrong side, isn't it? That's the other side. Is that right? Yeah, so the one we were just doing, that's what I wanted. Yeah, good, thank you. And breathe, and when you're ready, gently let the head slide to the right. The head and shoulders, the upper ribs, slide a little bit to the right. Now see if you can let go of your head and bring your arms and hands, bring your hands to your ribs. And greet your ribs with joy and love, and begin to slowly encourage your ribs to gently go a little bit more to the left. So you can use your whole palm of your hand to just gently kind of roll your ribs a little left and then come back. And you can try at different points of your ribs. You can try at the sternum, upper ribs and lower ribs. So just exploring what's possible, and without a little break in between, do the same thing to the right. So go at your own pace. Begin by letting them roll to the left. You can use your hands to really coax them or invite them. It's not forcing, it's really a gentle invitation. And when you've explored letting them go to the left, then begin to explore rolling them to the right a little bit. You can pause in between. Check in with your breathing. If you need to bring your legs to the midline to let them rest, if they're hurting your knees, that's fine. Just explore what's possible in terms of rolling your rib cage a little bit left, a little bit right. Good. You can rest a moment. If you want to uncross, bring your knees up and uncross. Just rest a moment with your feet flat. We have one more little step. But just notice your breathing. Good. So same leg crossed as just previously. When you're ready, cross that left leg over. Let them drift to the left, and bring your right hand over top, and your head comes to the right. Good. And now bring both hands to your ribs and just gently flatten your ribs. See if you can bring all of your ribs to the floor. So your palms are just feeling your ribs. And it's just a light intention. It's just a way to really feel the ribs and notice the breathing in there, your heart's in there. And then come back to the midline with the legs. Uncross the left leg and then cross the right leg over. And then let both legs drift gently to the right. And then with your left arm over top of the head, bring your head gently to the left. And then bring both hands to your ribs again and see if you can invite them to go flat or just press them gently. Feel your ribs on the inside with your hands. Light intention. Notice that there's movability in there. And then bring your head back to the midline. Uncross your legs. Your legs come back to the midline and just lengthen your legs if you like, or you can keep them bent if it feels more comfortable. Notice your breathing. Notice what parts of you feel the ground underneath you, the support of the floor. And let's go back to that scan we did like at the beginning, where you can sense, starting with where your feet are in contact with the back of your heels, your ankles, behind your ankles or your Achilles, and then your calves, behind your knees, your thighs, your buttocks, and then up into your torso. Notice your ribs as you breathe. Maybe there's a new place that you can sense your breath. Notice your shoulder blades in contact with the floor. Your sense of the length of each arm and your sense of the length of each leg. And you can compare right to left a little bit to get some clarification. Well, this side feels this way. This button, like one side might feel heavier or like it's taking up more room or different in some way than the other. And now really sense your breathing. Notice where you feel your breathing. And just begin to open your eyes and kind of come back into the room, so to speak. Sometimes it's easy to get really so focused on how we're moving, it can get hard. It's sometimes you got to kind of take time to come back into the room in a sense, but take your time. That completes the lesson, but begin to kind of come up to sitting and then standing, because sometimes it's really nice to stand, to feel the lesson in standing as well. You might feel a reverberation of the movements in standing. So take your time, keep.
Well, your voice, as usual, so soothing that I spaced out a bit, but then I came back.
That's okay. I'm gonna let Mom know what you said, since
Okay.
Mom Claudia said my voice as usual was. What did you say, Claudia?
This is so smoothing and
Smooth and
it has
soothing.
a rhythm to it that it really relaxes. It's almost like hypnotic.
It's hypnotic, she says. So she says she sort of spaces out sometimes, but that's really okay. That's normal. That's natural.
Okay. No, it's really relaxing.
So now, before we move, just notice yourself in standing a second,
Okay.
and feel your weight into your feet.
Right.
So feel the floor, the ground under your heels, under the balls of your feet. You might shift your weight a little bit and notice your breathing. And you can even move a little just to kind of sense any changes, any differences that you may notice from before the lesson, just to clarify, sometimes things feel different, sometimes they don't. It's okay. Awesome. Thank you both so much.
Thank you.
I see you're both standing beautiful and tall and long and.
Well, thank you. And I think this time of stress, it's good to like exercise the breathing that, okay, relax and
Yeah. Claudia says good to relax the breath, notice the breath, especially in this time. And it's nice to have to have a little community too.
It is,
when we're not really allowed to go be in a group.
Right. So you're staying put too?
What's that, Claudia?
Are you staying in shelter too? Or
yeah. I am. I had to go pick up my car. My car was in Santa Rosa for a couple days, so I finally got to go get it today.
Oh,
but
good.
I haven't needed it, so yeah.
Good.
Awesome, guys. Well,
nice to meet you, Abby.
Claudia says, nice to meet you. Nice to meet you, Claudia. She says, Abby says, I appreciate you both being here, and I'm going to do this as long as we need to. So invite you to come back. Invite your friends if you want.
Okay, thank you. No, I will, and let's think of ways, for I feel like to remunerate you for this,
Well, I'm okay with it as is right now. I'm okay with. Claudia was suggesting. I really want to offer it for free, and and kind of let it evolve, I guess. See how it comes. Yeah.
But,
all right. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much. This is really good.
Thank you, Claudia. Have a great evening.
Oh, you too.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. Take care,
Awesome.
and I appreciate you being here.
Oh, no.